Hello and welcome to a very special Halloween episode of
anyways, we are going to be doing 1992's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You didn't like that?
Come on.
Aaron, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. Ate some turkey. I actually deep fried a turkey. It was amazing.
Delicious.
How was yours?
It was good, man. I went and hung out with the in-laws and had a great time. It was awesome.
Sweet.
So, Aaron, today we are gearing up for Halloween with what is probably the most entertaining movie we've watched for this podcast so far.
Yeah.
Before Sarah Michelle Gellar graced us with her depiction of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 1997.
Yeah.
Rewind back to the year 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out. For some reason, it came out on July 31st, 1992. So it wasn't technically a Halloween film. Gosh, man, I could barely keep up with my notes. I couldn't write fast enough. This movie is so funny to me. It is so wildly entertaining. I'm not sure. I don't want to assume, but I'm not sure actually how many people have actually watched this movie, or even know that it exists, because the TV show is usually what people think of when they think of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Before if you haven't seen this movie, I just want to encourage you to pause this episode and go watch it immediately, because it is so funny. And Aaron, the thing that stood out to me so much while watching this is I could see how this was the precursor to so many other movies.
Yeah, very true.
Let's dive into it. It sits on Rotten Tomatoes at 35%. The audience score was 43%. This movie was made for only $7 million. And the total box office take was $16.6 million. So it doubled its money. And that was that.
Yeah. Isn't that insane, the amount of money that it took to make this movie and how much it made? And it was probably, considered if it doubled its money, it's decently successful, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how little money went into this film. But at the end of the day, the cast is ridiculous when you think about that it's only $7 million. I assume that $7 million just went into the cast.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, what is Buffy the Vampire Slayer about?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer is basically about my time that I spent in high school. Wait, that came out wrong. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer is about a high school girl who obviously is the popular kid. All the girls want to be her and all the guys want to do her kind of thing.
Essentially.
So she is the head cheerleader in the school. She is most popular girl dating the most popular guy. And then all of a sudden, she realizes she becomes aware that she is a reincarnated vampire slayer.
Yeah.
And so we got Kristy Swanson, who plays Buffy, Donald Sutherland, who's Merrick.
Sutherland. Can I say that the cast of this film is so bizarre to me?
Oh, it's very bizarre. So Donald Sutherland as Merrick, who is he's trained all the versions and reincarnations of every vampire slayer ever. And he kind of seeks out Buffy and I don't know. It was a little bit weird to me because he's just this creepy old dude who shows up in her while she's doing gymnastics, shows up in her girls' locker room, and is just
dressed like a pervert.
Yeah, and he's just come to a graveyard with me, and you're and she's just what?
Let me get this straight, okay? You want me to go to the graveyard with you because I'm the chosen one and there are vampires?
Yes.
Does Elvis talk to you?
What are you talking about?
It takes very little convincing for her to go along with everything.
Aaron,
did they explain at all in the movie why Merrick is so old? Why he's such an ancient dude?
I don't know, it was weird. They kind of touched on it, but then they like focused more on like why he wasn't the one like killing vampires.
Right.
And why, yeah, and then they kind of went into like why he couldn't intervene and stuff. I don't know. Did you catch anything?
No.
Yeah,
Not at all.
okay.
I was confused. I was like, is he a vampire?
So he trains her, she yada yada, she remembers all her sweet like vampire slaying skills, and and like kicks some ass and kills the head vampire and gets the guy in the end, or has like a real love interest who's played by Luke Perry, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Also, the head vampire, Rutger Hauer, who plays Lothos, rest in peace as well. He just passed away recently. Also, Aaron, this movie has Paul Rubens playing Amelin in it. And Paul Rubens is, of course, Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, yeah.
This is also Hilary Swank's first actor role.
Yeah.
Also, Tom Jane and Ben Affleck are both in this movie.
Yeah, so random.
And Seth Green.
And David, what is his name? David I can never say his last name.
David Arquette.
Arquette, yeah.
Yeah. So crazy, man. Yeah, this movie is like near and dear to me. I remember I grew up watching this. It was one of my sister's favorite movies, and of course, I thought Kristy Swanson was gorgeous as a kid. So I I watched this every chance I got. My mom and my parents quoted this movie. My mom, I'm pretty sure, still quotes this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really resonated in our house. We thought it was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
So to kind of set up this movie was written by Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
It's the first movie writing credit that he has, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, he sold the movie rights to Dolly Parton's company, Sand Dollar Productions, and essentially they went ahead and made this really low budget movie, and allegedly Joss Whedon was so upset with the direction it was taking that he like stormed off set and left production.
Yeah.
And apparently he really, really hated Donald Sutherland and is quoted as calling him a dick.
I couldn't bring myself to say I was making a film called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Because Donald Sutherland rewrote a lot of the dialogue on the fly and just kind of did his own thing. Which is weird, Aaron, because when you watch this, it doesn't seem like Donald Sutherland had much to work with to begin with. So I don't know.
Or is that because he was changing lines? Because like when I was watching it, one of the comments that I read is Josh Whedon said that like because he came up with his own dialogue and stuff and would ad lib and do whatever, that when he was acting, it became very disconnected. And in the movie, when he talks and stuff, he just like says things and then he like has these long pauses and then starts talking again. And it does seem very disconnected.
Yeah, it was weird. Like once I read that, I recognized that. But watching it, I thought he was just, he was trying to do some sort of like period actor kind of thing. Like he was this ancient being that was just the way he talked or something. So
yeah.
It's interesting because this movie didn't do well. It didn't make a lot of money, and it was critically kind of slammed. But obviously, it meant a lot to Joss Whedon because he'd go on to rebooting it in 1997, which is one of the most like popular and beloved TV series of like our generation.
Has a huge cult following.
Yeah, and there's talk of another reboot even as of now.
There was, so I was reading that they were going to reboot it and or I don't know if it was the show or they were going to do a movie, but they didn't have Josh Whedon in it. And just from the buzz of trying to do a restart without Josh Whedon in it, it like created so much fan uproar that they just completely like canceled that one. And now they are like they got Josh Whedon on board and stuff for whatever the reboot is going to be.
I'm assuming he didn't even want to touch it at this point, hey?
Yeah,
but it's such a beloved series. So this is a very interesting movie in the like it's not often that a movie will fail, but then like a TV version of it blows up and becomes super successful. So Aaron, why do you think this movie flopped? Like, why didn't the movie version resonate with people, in your opinion?
I think that this movie is just campy. Is that the right word?
100%.
Where it's just like, yeah, where it's just like so bizarre. And like when I was watching this movie, like I thought I was watching something like so bad, like a B movie pretty much. In some of the acting and like scenes and like the cheesiness that goes on in parts of the movies. And it's just, it doesn't convey to you like scary or you're not like really, it's not like a thriller or anything like that. It's just kind of, it's just overall like more of a goofy movie than anything else, where you're just like laughing at scenes because they're just so ridiculous.
Yeah, this movie has some of the craziest lines. Like it practically invents a whole other dialect. Like some of the things I kept writing down random things that people would say, and out of context, it just sounds so weird. Like at one point in time, Paul Rubin's character says, "Kill him a lot."
Kill him a lot.
At one point in time, Buffy does something cool, then turns to the camera and says, "Toaster caked him." And I rewound and rewatched that line like 3 times to make sure that I wrote down the right thing, because I was like, what?
Yeah.
Toaster caked him. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? What's a toaster cake?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's this movie, like, it's so, like, from start to finish, it's so full of this stuff. Like, in this movie, blow means, like, to go. So, like, people will see, come on, let's blow. And you're like, what? And then, like, take a chill lesson. That one's pretty self-explanatory, but, like, you know, usually people just say take a chill pill, but in this movie they say take a chill lesson. It's like, it's the most confusing movie in that regard. And of course the team mascot is a hog, so they're all hog fans, which is hysterical.
Like they couldn't come up with a better mascot than that.
Oh yeah, and this one, get out of my facial. Like that.
Get out of my facial.
Get out of my facial. Like what the heck, man?
Yeah.
When I agree with you, this really felt like a B rate. Like it feels like it was made for even less than $7 million. Like it was shot in something like 5 weeks because Luke Perry was working on 90210, so they had to work around his schedule, which was crazy because you have all these other heavy hitting actors in it, but they worked around his schedule, so it was all shot in 5 weeks. There's a ton of ADR work, like all over the place, where sometimes people's mouths are moving and nothing's coming out, and other times there's just dialogue and the shot's so far away you can't actually tell if they're actually saying it or not in real time. And there's recycled props. Like I'm pretty sure that John Connor's dirt bike from Terminator 2 is in this movie at one point in time. Like that whole like weird fairground scene, I feel like is the set for a different movie. Like it's like they filmed this in like a prop shed or something. Like it's really weird. And the corny stuff, man. The main vampire Lothos plays like. At one point in time, he's playing a violin, and it's an electric violin, but for some reason, it's making sound, and like, the vampire rules are really unclear because at one point in time, you're like, oh, okay, you know, you have to invite vampires in for them to be able to gain access to your place. But then in another scene, you like, if you're doing like a monster movie, especially vampires, you have to establish the rules right up front of your universe. So the audience knows kind of what to expect, and then when you subvert those rules, that's kind of where the twists of the movie happen. But in this movie, they kind of just make it up as they go in a weird way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like what Joss Whedon wrote and what this became were two different things. It strikes me from what I read, Aaron, and from what I researched, there was a ton of studio interference on this film.
Okay.
Because Joss Whedon, he had a lot more of comedic beats in it, which is funny because when you watch this, I think this is a straight up comedy, but like, he had like his token Joss Whedon humor, but there were a lot of like really dark elements to it too. Like I think the big bad, was it Lothos? I think he like in the original draft, like he commits suicide and like Buffy burns down the school or the gym or something, and it's just seemed a lot more intense. Which is interesting because the show, the TV series in 1997, is based off of the original script, not off of this movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of confusing because if you're watching this movie, it's basically alternate reality Buffy the Vampire Slayer, whereas the Sarah Michelle Gellar is based on the original script having happened. Really weird stuff, man. So I think it flopped just because people didn't understand the tone of it and what it was trying to do. And
it definitely didn't do a good job of conveying it.
No, not at all. Fun fact here: the music for this, the soundtrack's rad for this film. It's like unreal. But the music was done by Carter Burwell, who did Twilight. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe like vampires are his specialty.
I was thinking
like
that too.
Movies.
Yeah. Even though like basically every time the vampires show up, he just holds down like a Korg wave station sample that he just plays, and it just like loops the entire time. It's like that like boom.
Yeah.
Aaron, I feel like if it wasn't for this movie, shows like Mean Girls and even some Stranger Things elements, especially in the latest season of Stranger Things, I feel like if it wasn't for this movie, a lot of that stuff wouldn't turn out the way it did.
Yeah, so was this, I can't remember correctly, because like obviously going back to this time when this movie came out, I was 3 years old, but like, was this the first of its kind where it was kind of like the high school campy, like cheesy kind of show, like movie?
I think so. Like there was no shortage of like B-movie slasher flicks and stuff like that coming out of the 80s.
Where does Clueless, like the Clueless movie fall?
Clueless.
That's what I would be.
Let's see here. So Clueless came out in 1995. So it actually came out post this movie, and that's kind of a rom-com, I think, in terms of the tone.
Well, I would imagine that they probably pulled elements from this as well, because it's kind of like the same popular girl, kind of ditzy, whatever, you know?
Yeah. It's so interesting when you watch a movie like this and you see the profound effect it had on pop culture. Because when I was describing this movie to my wife, because I was like, you got to watch this one, you're gonna love this one. I was like, it's Mean Girls but with vampires. And then when we sat down to watch it, she was like, like it totally is. It really, really is. Like you have the Valley Girl element, you have the popular girls who are super catty. You know the Hilary Swank's character. You know, like cops her jacket girl and stuff. Yeah, there's all that dynamic happening, but it just so happens that Buffy's getting into this vampire path.
The boyfriend who is like only with you because you're popular, and then you find like the real boyfriend in the end. Kind of.
Exactly. This movie, I feel like this movie is wildly accessible, especially from a 2019 audience. I was thinking about the concept of like so bad it's good, and I kind of feel like that applies to this movie.
Yes, 100%.
So entertaining. Like, obviously it's not what Joss Whedon wanted, but honestly, man, like this movie is so freaking entertaining to me.
Yeah, and this is kind of where it's bad, because it's like not entertaining in the sense that they like where they wanted it to be entertaining. It's all like it's all the bad stuff that goes on in this movie that just for some reason it kind of works, and it just exactly what you said. It's just so much bad stuff that it like makes it entertaining.
Yeah, it's so cheesy. Like every time someone floats down on a wire or bursts out, it's just like the effects are so quaint and so terrible, and everyone's just hamming it up. I think right out of the gate, Aaron, I really want to defend Kristy Swanson, because her performance as Buffy, I think, is just so great. Like she completely nails the Valley Girl side of things, but then when it comes time to kick ass, she does all that, and it's awesome. I'm pretty sure she had like 4 different stunt people that were probably doing all the tumbling and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Because every time she goes to do a backflip or something, they like do a wide shot and then they cut it in again when she's like, you know. So there's a lot of that kind of like corny trickery and stuff. But you know, like I really enjoy her transformation from like Valley Girl with really low priorities to. You know, she goes from basically being concerned about cheer practice to like saving her city from a vampire invasion.
Yeah. When I was reading reviews of the movie here, a lot of people were saying like the bright spot was Kristy Swanson's like acting in this movie. That she was like the only good part of it.
Oh, I disagree. Yeah, I honestly I loved everyone's acting in this. Just the idea of a pervy Donald Sutherland like sulking around the gym.
Then one night he came back. We had shot this scene. Actually, it was that scene where I rolled forward and threw the stake. There's a scene right in there that they had already shot his side of it, like his coverage of it, and they weren't going to get to my coverage until the wee hours of the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. He said, I will come back and I will be there for you to do those off-camera lines. And I said, no, it's
cool.
okay. I'll be all right. He showed up in the middle of the night. He had gone out to dinner. He came back, you know, like he was just there for me. And he goes, it makes a difference. He goes, I don't want you to be, you know, doing with the script supervisor. I need to be there for you. I was like, wow, you're so cool.
For one, like who let him in there? For two, how did he get past security and all the cameras? Why is no one asking this weird dude in a trench coat? Like for 3, why is he even dressed that way? Like
1992 was a very different time.
I think so. Like, you think that he would have the wisdom to, like, you know, maybe shave and put on a suit and tie, maybe meet her at a coffee shop instead of, like, in the girls' locker room.
I don't like thinking of Buffy as a vampire movie, but vampirism is the context of this comedy. We wanted to make our own rules for the vampires. Do they fly? Do they walk? Do they have fangs? Do they not have fangs? Where did they come from?
Just a segue, one of my notes here. At one point in time, I think it's Pike throws alcohol into one of the faces of the vampires, and it seemed to like burn him, almost like acid. So,
weird.
Yeah, that's what I meant by like confusing rules, because I wasn't sure if that's like, because usually only holy water burns vampires.
Like, oh, you know what else was weird?
What's up?
Why did they like bust out of the grave? I couldn't wrap my head around that.
Why did they bust out of the grave?
Yeah, because it's like, that's not a common vampire thing. It's like a zombie thing to bust out of the grave, isn't it?
So it does some, there's different iterations. I think in like the sort of the prime, like Dracula style vampires, they usually stay dead for anywhere from 3 days to kind of do like the Christian parallel, or it's like a matter of hours, depending on like what movie you're watching. But usually, I think in this movie, I don't know, because like in real life, it takes a couple days to organize a funeral and get someone buried. So you would think that they were doing the 3-day thing and then they rise up out of the ground. But they have like superhuman strength to bust out of their casket in the ground and everything else. So it's almost as if they were buried without actually being buried in coffins, if that makes sense. Yeah, I guess in Hollywood they just put people in the ground. They don't actually put them in coffins. But yeah, very good question. I really don't have an answer for that. If you're gonna bury vampires, I mean, you have to give them superhuman strength to move like 6 feet of solid earth plus the door of their coffin. And the more I think of that, the weirder it gets, because you do see that a lot in zombie movies, but zombies don't have super strength.
Yeah.
Oh, so confusing.
I really like the part when they're coming up for like themes for the school dance, and the one of the like cheerleaders or girls in the group or whatever says like, "Don't tread on me," and Buffy's like, "Wait, what do you mean? Like you have to tread on the earth?" Or she says like, "Don't like." Oh, how does it going? Anyways, she says something along those lines, and I thought that she's like, "Oh yeah, like I guess we have to tread on the earth."
Have to tread on the earth.
Yeah.
Also, another first. I feel like this movie's full of firsts, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the first on-screen depiction of a vampire DJ. How many times have you seen this pop up in like a B-rated movie where like a musician or a DJ will be playing on the stage and then like the monsters bust in, and then at some point in time the monsters like swap out the musicians and they do the performing? And I was like, man, that's such an underrated hallmark of these kind of movies. Like where the DJ is playing and then, he gets taken out, and then a vampire comes in and then just decides to keep DJing.
All I can think of is that Zoolander scene where they're going to kill the Malaysian prime minister, and it keeps like switching back between music.
Yeah.
And Owen Wilson is fighting the DJ.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This movie is chock full of weird stuff, man. It's so hard to keep up with.
Like if you go and watch this movie, like you will not be disappointed, especially waiting this long, like how many years later, and watching this movie. It's just you're gonna have a good time watching it.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Buffy, because she has a very interesting character trait that I remembered so much differently than it actually was. When I was a kid, I didn't know what cramps or PMS was per se.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And so, and then as I watched it later on, I think I just thought that during the movie that her character just happened to be on her period, and I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. I can't remember another movie where like the main character is actively dealing with like menstruation during the plot of the film. But then as an adult rewatching this, I was like, oh my God, it's her spidey sense.
Yeah.
She gets menstrual cramps when vampires are near.
Yeah, and also it's supposed to like lure them in as well, and because of like the blood or whatever.
Now, Aaron, someone probably knows, but is that in the TV series or is that isolated to this movie?
I feel like that would not translate to the show, but I'm not like a big enough like I didn't watch the show enough, so I couldn't tell you.
The weird thing is, though, is like of all the strange stuff that happens in this movie, that seems to be the thing that was handled the most tastefully. It's so strange. Like, because when I say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous and maybe even a little bit offensive. But then when you watch the film, you're like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting. And like Kristy Swanson.
Fit.
Yeah, she doesn't overplay it. It's very like subtle. The first couple times it happens, you don't even really clue in to like it being connected. And I was just like, that's actually kind of interesting to me. That's like it's like Sting from Lord of the Rings.
Oh my gosh.
I was really fascinated by that because it's such a weird choice, and I don't know if that was Joss Whedon or if that was the studio or if, I have no idea where that idea came from.
I wonder. It was so weird when she like jumps in to like kiss her boyfriend while he's in the car. Yeah. And his friend is like, "Can I borrow her?" And he's just like pretending to like feel her butt and stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh, like what is going on here?
Yeah. It's so weird, man. What's weird is like Pike Pike is dressed like the deckhand of a pirate ship in this film.
Yeah, he is.
And then Benny, I swear to God, Benny is wearing the costume from Terminator 1. Like he's wearing Arnold's like Terminator 1 costume for most of the film. It's so weird. And this movie also has like completely out of control sound effects. Like every flip and every punch and every like sound effect is just so loud and cheesy. There's so much.
I absolutely love when movies do that. It's so funny. It adds so much more.
Yeah, it was like watching a 70s kung fu film where every like punch is like just so exaggerated and every flip sounds like it's just like a airplane going over your head or something. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Look, air.
Hi.
Hi.
You know what about this movie though is like they even though they had like the big bad vampire at the end there, they kind of more focused it on like Buffy and her like, growing essentially or being stretched as a character.
Yeah.
which I thought was really cool because like we got to see her go through all her like issues and things that were going on in like high school, and how she has to like navigate social circles, how she has to deal with like breakups, heartaches, and then all while maintaining like vampire slayer status, right? And so to me, it was awesome that you got to watch a movie where you got to see this character develop, and the main villain didn't overshadow it like too much, and it was just kind of given its own like little segment towards the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's a classic hero's journey, like beat for beat. From start to finish. It's in that sense it's formulaic, but at the same time it's so easy to be on board with her and her journey, because at first, like the very first scene, you don't really like her and you're kind of like, oh, she's kind of like an airhead and she's kind of like she's a bit abrasive and mean, but by the end of the film, like you really want her to succeed, and that's so cool to me. Because it's such a short movie, and they're able to pack that into it, you know?
Yeah, and even with Pike's character, too, in the beginning, he's just like a complete skid, just like good for nothing, sneaks into the theater, is like wasted walking around. Like, they at one point, they walk into a restaurant and only have enough money to buy a hot dog, and one of them eats a hot dog, and the other one eats the bun, and you're just like, who is this, like, loser?
Yeah, they're just the couple of total, like, low-life, like, junk, or what are they? What would you call them? Like skids, who are just like
skids, literally skids.
Yeah, just throwing their change down. Oh, it's so funny.
And then I don't know what happened when he's like holding the hot dog and he's like, "She ruined my wiener." I laugh.
Yeah. She stands up with a butter knife, and then off camera you hear like whoosh, 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 whoosh.
And it's just like, it's not even like ruined. It's just like split down the middle.
There's like 6 whooshes for like a clean cut down the middle.
Yeah, that hot dog was perfectly edible even after those cuts.
You know, this movie also does a subversion thing where usually in movies like this, it'll be like the quote unquote ugly duckling thing where like the girl takes off her glasses and suddenly she's beautiful, you know, lets down her hair, like the she's all that kind of transformation. Whereas in this film, Pike does that where he goes from like total skid, but then he like shaves off his goatee, slicks his hair back, and is a total stud all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
puts on a leather oh wait, no, he had a leather jacket on for the beginning.
Yeah, he had the leather jacket, but he just like, it's so funny like seeing the guy do the quote unquote ugly duckling maneuver. And I was like, man, this is so fun. Like,
we need to see that more.
When does that happen? Yeah.
That needs to be a more common theme in like in more current movies where the guy plays the ugly duckling role.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, this movie has some really fun character growth.
Oh shoot! And the principal, who is he played by? All I know is Milton from Office Space, but what's his real name?
Stephen Root.
Yeah, Stephen Root. What a strange role for him to be in. Like, he's been in a lot of movies.
He was in Dodgeball, too.
Yeah, he's, like, in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, he has, like, almost 250 acting credits, that guy. He's been in just about everything. And I'm pretty sure... Doesn't he say that he went to a Doobie Brothers concert in the 60s or something like that?
Yeah, he does say that. And apparently the Doobie Brothers weren't out at that time or something like that. There's some continuity error there.
Yeah, but he's trying so hard to relate to Buffy while she's sitting there because he thinks that she's on drugs and she's kind of acting like she's on drugs. And then she like spits a thumbtack at a fly and like pins it to the wall.
Yeah, that was so badass.
You know what? I was totally on board with her transformation because like she has these inherited vampire slaying abilities, right? Mm-hmm. But what's neat is before she even knows this, she has already gravitated towards like an active sort of role where she's like the head of the cheerleading group and, you know, is coordinating all these dances and there's all that physicality. And I thought that was cool that before she even realizes that she has to take on this moniker and do this dope training montage, that like she's already in a position where she's kind of capitalizing on those inherent abilities. And I was like, that's actually a really cool, kind of a smart writing thing, you know? Like she's not like it's not like a Neo thing where he goes from sitting at a desk all day to like doing kung fu. It was more like, no, she's actually already tumbling and she's already fit and she's already like practicing on her own, staying obviously later after class. Like she was the only person in that gymnasium once everybody else left. So she's like putting in the extra hours to really be in shape and do all the stuff she's got to do. And I thought that was a really cool character thing. It's really subtle. They don't really hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, and then Merrick as well even goes on saying that she is the most gifted one out of all the vampire slayers that he has seen. And even later on in the movie, they make it so that he actually intervenes and I guess tries to go after a vampire or whatever, but it results in him being killed, I believe. And yeah, and so which he normally never gets involved with any of the vampire slayers. So I think we're supposed to take that and be like, holy smokes, Buffy is head and shoulders above everyone else.
Which is kind of confusing to me as well, because when they do one of the flashbacks, Kristy Swanson is playing one of the earlier iterations of the vampire slayer. So I was confused by that because I wasn't sure if it was straight up reincarnation or just like a moniker that's being passed down.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably what Josh Whedon was getting so upset about, because he was trying to create a rich culture and history and stuff, and he was trying to make every character lovable and well, not lovable, but you know what I mean. Try to actually do some character development and have continuity towards it. And then obviously, there wasn't a whole ton of that in this movie.
Right. Man, so crazy. Do you have a WTF moment for this film?
I don't know. It's kind of maybe that scene with which is that one vampire where he's just dying and constantly being yelling out
My wife literally was like, "What? No, he's not doing that. Really? No." And he just keeps, it's like the longest death scene. And then Aaron, in the post credits, there's more of it too.
Yeah, I caught that.
And it's Pee Wee Herman playing a vampire, man. That's crazy.
Which also looks like a coked out Nicolas Cage vampire at the same time.
Oh yeah, he's so his hair's all frizzy. He's got this weirdo semi-sexual bravado to him. He's missing an arm for half the movie. Yeah,
but that scene was so weird because the same thing for me. I was like, is he doing it? Is he hamming it up? And I was like, no, he's not. He's just dying. And then he just kept going, and you're like, oh no, he is doing it.
He starts kicking the wall. And meanwhile, Rutger Hauer's just playing this electric violin with his gloves on that's somehow making sound. Oh man, what a beautiful scene. That's that in my mind, that scene is the epitome of the hallmark of so bad it's good, because everything's sincere and yet everything is just so ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Was that, do you have a WTF moment, or was that kind of yours?
Yeah, no, I have one. So Pike pulls up along Buffy on a motorcycle, and they have this argument, and then Buffy storms off, and then Pike says this line where he says,
"I'm not disappointed, just angry."
And then he kicks over his motorcycle, but it's so obvious that he didn't start the motorcycle in that shot, because the headlamp doesn't come on or anything. So they do a sound effect of a motorcycle kicking over, but then they cut away to the next shot where the bike is running, the headlamp's on, and the motorcycle sound changes because now it's actually on. He turns around the motorcycle. They've moved the distance away from how far away he was from the photo booth, because he wouldn't have been able to turn it around from the last shot. And then when he drives off, Benny steps out of the phone, like the photo booth, as if he'd been hiding in there for like hours. And he's just like, Buffy?
Okay.
Like the whole series of events, I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It was so sad because he's acting like all like pissed off and like, I'm just angry. And he kicks over the bike. But Aaron, like, it is so obvious that he didn't actually like get it started.
Oh man.
I urge everyone to rewatch that scene. That edit is so funny. It's so funny. And this movie's full of that, hey, like sound effects and just begging, scraping, and borrowing their way to an hour and a half long movie.
I love some of the scenes with like Buffy's stunt double where you can just like completely tell that that's not her. And it's like some tall, skinny dude like running around.
Yeah, totally. The editing in this film is probably one of the most entertaining things about it. Mm-hmm. Also, as another WTF thing, Aaron, I can't figure this out. At the very, very end of the movie, when Buffy and Pike ride off into the sunset, the very first credit in this movie, like before anything else, it says Candy Clark as Buffy's mom. Like before anything, before the cast, before the credits, like what? What's so special about Candy Clark?
Oh, you don't know what's special about Candy Clark?
No.
Everybody knows. Come on, man.
Why don't you tell me, Aaron?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Did she finance the movie or something?
She was literally in the movie for what, like a total of 5 seconds, and says like she's like plays Buffy's mom and just like says, "Okay, honey, we're leaving now," and like leaves the house, and she's never in the movie again.
And she says this line that I'm pretty sure my mom still quotes to this day, where she says "kiss noise" instead of actually making a kiss noise. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot that this was in this movie. But yeah, it was really, really weird. It'd be like the equivalent of like like name any other movie, and then the first credits just like the person with 2 lines. It's so strange.
Yeah.
The other thing I was trying to figure out is, usually when you have a movie about vampires or a little spooky, because it's not set at Halloween per se, but obviously it feels like a total Halloween movie. This movie came out in like the middle of summer, like July 31st.
Yeah.
That's also very confusing to me. I feel like this movie would have done a lot better as a Halloween release than a...
Yes, in like October, yeah.
Yeah, this is not a summer blockbuster movie. This is like...
No.
You know what I mean? It's so weird.
Well, I'm sure they had high hopes for this movie that it would be a summer blockbuster. But yeah, they didn't realize... They probably thought this was like one of the best movies they've ever made, and then it just flopped hard.
What's kind of crazy is in later in 1992, in November, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Did I say that right? Bram Stoker's Dracula came out. So this was definitely a year where like vampires were kind of back in the popular in pop culture. But this year you had movies like Aladdin came out, Wayne's World, The Bodyguard, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
I was gonna say, you remember the movie that just came out, that Ready or Not movie? I believe that's what it's called. So like in the scene, she's kind of has that ripped up wedding dress, and then she puts like the sneakers on and stuff. Yeah. I feel like that is a throwback to this movie at the end when she's in her prom dress and in like shoes fighting vampires and stuff.
Oh man, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I hope so. That'd be so sweet if that was
throwback. I like who knows if it was a throwback, but it might have been inspired.
There's some weird mix of stuff that came out that year, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In like earlier years, I find that there was like, it was kind of like a motley crew of movies that would always come out. And now as we like current times, it seems to be like things are more structured. Like they know what's going to succeed in like July kind of thing. Like they got, and so we're kind of getting away from that anyways.
Yeah, way more structured, hey? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you know what? Like, besides the performances, I definitely want to defend like the 90s aesthetic, the music.
Yeah.
You know, I know humor is subjective, and that to call a movie fun it sounds like such a cop out. And you know, I really want to defend Joss Whedon for for knowing that he had something, because this is his first like movie credit, right? And this guy would go on to like write and direct the Avengers movie, which was a huge blockbuster at the time. So it's kind of cool. Like, this is obviously his baby. He wanted this movie to succeed. It got kind of, you know, that old adage, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. The TV show was a smash success. And it's just really cool to me that he, you know, the bones of the story are there, but then he was able to go back and do it the way he really wanted. So I want to defend Joss Whedon for this movie. And, yeah, like I said, like, I find this movie so entertaining. Like, from the opening shot, you have like this dope 90s dance song. People are holding up signs that say hog power. There's a dance montage, and it just doesn't...
Training montage? Yeah. Oh, we don't have enough montages in movies like these days.
No. And this is a good one. This is a real good one. Honestly, from start to finish, this movie is pure entertainment. It is just, it doesn't waste a frame. You know, it's a breakneck movie. If you stop to think about anything that's happening, you'll probably just laugh yourself into oblivion. And yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like this movie holds up pretty well as like a so bad it's good kind of movie.
Yeah, and I always say, like, one of the most basic thing of watching any movie is you have to ask yourself, was I entertained? And if you ask yourself watching this movie, there is no way you can say you're not entertained. Like, but that's also going into this movie with the mindset that you know it is bad. Like, you're not going into it to like that you're, you know, expecting it to be like a awesome, like really good movie, but just knowing that it's a bad movie, going into it like so entertaining.
Totally. Yeah. The dialogue, the pacing, the cast is unbelievable. By 2019 standards, you can barely keep up with all the people that are in it. And you're like, oh man, that's this person's first movie. That's this person's first movie. Look at this. Like, yeah. It's just, it's relentlessly entertaining, and you'll recognize props from other movies. You'll recognize costumes from other movies. For $7 million, man, this movie cooks, and it's so funny. Like, it's really, really a funny film.
Yeah. Was this Ben Affleck's first movie as well?
No, it's not. But
no, hey?
No, it's not. I was hoping it was, but no. He had a few other bit parts before that.
Okay, because like it's such a small part that he's in. He's just like the opposing team, like basketball player.
Yeah, just a basketball player. Yeah.
Well, should we bring this train into the station, Dan?
Yeah, but I promised in our jury duty episode that I was going to make an embarrassing admission about this film. So
okay.
So when I was a kid, back in 1992, how old was I? Like 6 years old. 6 years old, yeah. And so obviously I had a huge crush on Kristy Swanson after watching this. And in my childhood brain logic, I thought, I wonder if I could find her in the phone book and call her.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
I was born and raised in Prince George, British Columbia, at the time a town of like 80,000 people in northern BC. So you can see the error in my logic here. But sure enough, I found a Kristy Swanson in the phone book. And secretly one night, I called it up, and then of course some like middle-aged lady answers the phone, like some 40-year-old woman answers the phone, and she's just like, hello, and I got so scared, and all she would have heard is like some heavy breathing, and then I just hung up and was like, oh my god.
Oh man, what if that was her?
Well, maybe, I don't know. She might live there.
She's probably like, Donald, is this you?
You're one of those skanky old men that like attacks little girls and stuff, right? Well, forget you.
Say, is this you? These jokes aren't funny anymore.
Yeah. I'm not going to invite you in, Donald.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So,
too funny.
Anyway, that's kind of embarrassing, but I wanted to share that because, you know, phone books don't really exist anymore, but when you're a kid, man, your world's small.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aaron, First off, how would you recommend this movie?
So like I said, just anyone who's kind of into vampire movies, doesn't mind watching, like is into that kind of like cheesy B movie scenes and likes purposely watching bad movies, then this movie is for you, because like you're going to have a good time watching it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. This movie is actually doing a second run kind of thing in cinemas like now.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to see this on the big screen, like I would encourage you to take the opportunity to while you can, because that would just be it would just be so fun. Yeah, I recommend this to anybody who's a fan of the TV series and wants to see an alternate take on it. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, especially season 3, that aesthetic and that kind of vibe, definitely check this out. And if you're a fan of So Bad It's Good movies, this one, if it's not on your radar, then you have to watch it, because it's right up there, man. It is so wildly entertaining just for the cast alone. Like you have Paul Rubens acting opposite Donald Sutherland, and if you don't, like, you got to know how that looks. It's so fun. This is like 90s nostalgia to the max.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so if you had to give it a rating, what would you give it?
So it's not a super competent film, but I mean, we're stretching $7 million here to the max. So I'm gonna say 65%. It's kind of like, what is that? Like a C minus, C plus kind of thing? C, somewhere in there. Because it is wildly entertaining, but it's not super competent, and the editing and ADR and sound effects are just in their they're just at a different skill level than everything else. So yeah, that's about where I'm at, I think. How about you?
Okay. So I kind of have a fun rating for this one. I would rate this 70 gravity-defying yabos out of 69. That is the rating I give this movie.
Oh my god! What's your damage, Aaron?
Do you know what scene I'm talking about when it's Pike and who's the other guy, and he's like, those gravity defying yabos. I was like, what is that?
Weird. I have no idea.
Oh man, it made me laugh so hard.
Then they cut away and you just see like dangling from a wire. Benny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Gosh.
And then Donald Sutherland shows up and he's like, this is no place to sleep, and just picks him up and puts him in his car. It's so weird.
Doesn't seem to care like what just happened to Benny. He just picks him up. Yeah. This is no place to sleep. Oh man. You know, we probably missed an opportunity here to talk like Valley Girls for this entire episode, but I'm pretty sure people will just shut it off after 10 minutes or so. Yeah, man, what a joy. What an absolute joy. I was really looking forward to rewatching this film, and I feel like this is the epitome of like campy Halloween style movies. So go Hogs.
Hog wild for Buffy. I don't know. Hogs on hogs with hog helmets for the hogs.
I don't know, man. Sometimes it's a lot of fun to go back and watch movies like this because you see that connective tissue. A lot of the times, these movies like this with smaller budgets that don't do super well, I think it's important to watch them because you might be surprised how much of the elements of them get not plagiarized per se, but kind of just like copped for bigger movies that you might have already seen. So it's really interesting to go back and watch this one in particular because there's just so much connective tissue to so many other movies that came out nearly immediately after this even. So yeah, man, that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer from 1992.
Make sure you guys check it out. You won't be disappointed.
So Aaron, do you know what you're going to be for Halloween?
I have a Pikachu onesie that I'm thinking of wearing because I'm kind of lazy and just want to wander around in a onesie. How about yourself?
My wife and I were talking about being Buffy and Pike.
Oh, that's a good one.
We've been teasing doing a Mulder and Scully thing for like years now, but I'm not sure. It's got to be something that people will kind of know. Or we could do Buffy and Merrick. I could just walk around looking like a flasher. All right, man. Well, happy Halloween to all of our listeners.
Yes.
And hope you finished October strong and that you're enjoying the fall season. And looking forward to Thanksgiving and all the great stuff we have coming up.
And double check your candy and double check your kids' candy.
Yeah, be safe out there. Be safe out there,
Be
world.
safe. Wear
Be safe.
reflective bands when crossing the street in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. There might be a vampire out there. You don't know.
What's it so funny?
Sorry.
Oh my god. All right, everyone. We'll see you later.
Yes. See you guys. Bye.
Hello and welcome to a very special Halloween episode of In Defense of a Movie Podcast. On this episode, we will be discussing vampires in 1992.
I didn't know when to interrupt you, and I just kind of wanted to let you go with it.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's try that again.
Sorry. I just had fun with it because you were just going. Sorry.
That's okay. That outtake is probably going to end up at the end of the episode. Okay, let's try it again. So that's what I'm going to do anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
At any given point in time, just jump in. Shit.
Okay, I got it.